So if you've clicked on this link, I presume you are a parent who's looking for a childcare for your kid, or you are an expecting parent who is again trying to find a childcare for your kid, or you possibly might be an immigrant who's moving from your home country to Canada with your kid and you are looking to understand how does childcare process work in Canada. Now we all know that childcare in North America is a very tricky topic because one, it is expensive, second, it is very hard to get a spot, and third, it's a very tedious process. So in today's video, we're going to walk you through the entire process of how childcare services work in Canada. Now, before we get started, I highly recommend you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if in case you are new here, because we have been living in Canada for the last 4 years and we create content around our life in Canada, our daily vlogs and informational topics like these based on our experiences. So I am quite confident that this video or any of our other videos will definitely be useful to you. So now to find a childcare for my son, between the two of us, Achal was the one who did most of the legwork in trying to coordinate with different vendors and trying to understand what the pricing is, how the services work. So more than me trying to give you the information, because she has more experience and she's done the groundwork, I'm going to rely on her to pass on the information to you guys. The very first question that I have for you is, what are the different types of childcare in Canada?
Sure. So, so there are 4 types of childcare in Canada, starting with nanny services, licensed home daycare and private home daycares, and then childcare centers. Then there is a special thing about for schoolers, right? School-going kids, that is before and after care services.
So I heard you mentioned something about nanny services, which pretty much caught my attention. Can you explain to me and our viewers what exactly is this nanny services?
Yeah, sure. So nanny services is a provider who comes to your house and takes care of your child. So that's a process where you can find a nanny through different agencies who can help you find nannies. They come to your house and take care of your kids. They're also not monitored, and also not regulated. So it's best for parents to screen the nannies before you hire them.
Okay, so somebody's going to come to your house.
Yes.
So that way you are constantly watching your kids while they are at your house.
Yeah, so if you are working from home parents, then it's maybe easier. But suppose you want nanny to be here and then you are going out to work, from your office location, then people also put cameras or things like that to just be, careful about how things are taken care of.
Okay, so now we've understood the first part or the first type, which is basically nanny services. Yeah. I also heard you mentioning something about daycares or childcares, but there were 2 specific types that you mentioned. No. What exactly is the difference between the two?
Okay, so there are 2 things. So there are home daycares which are like either licensed or private. Now these are, there are some agencies through government which are licensed and they provide you home daycares. Now these are registered through the government and you have to register through these agencies to find a private home daycare for your kids. Okay. These are regularly inspected by the government, or the agencies come to your house to look at your facility. If everything
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you mean the provider's facility?
Yes,
okay.
The provider facility. And they also have to meet the provincial standards like by the government. On the other hand, the private home daycares are not inspected by the government. They will not, or they might not, meet the provincial standards. So there are 2 different things for private and licensed home daycare.
Perfect. So before we move on to the next question, I just want to quickly give a recap. So what we've spoken about is nanny services, where somebody will come to your house. Yeah. Then we spoke about daycares, home daycares, yes. Basically. Perfect. Now we also have something called as daycare centers.
Yeah.
What exactly are they?
So these are like a large facilities like, like Montessori's or something like that, where there are larger staff, of course. They can occupy more kids, ranging from 20 kids to 120, 150 kids in one batch. They also categorize your kids as per your age group. There are more activities, there are books, there are different staff, so more options for your kids. It's more like a school, right?
While you also mentioned about these daycare centers, I have another question that comes to my mind, and you said it's like a school. What happens to kids who are going to school? So how does that work?
Okay, so for school-going kids, there is something like before and after care. For parents who have to leave kids, like they have to go early to work, so they cannot wait for the school time to begin. So they drop their kids early and then also might pick up late. So that's before and after school care. So most of the schools, it's obligatory or regulated by the government to provide the before and after school care. But again, it depends on huge wait list. But other than that, the home daycares like licensed daycares and private daycares also provide the similar services. So you have two options to avail from.
Okay, so I think this is a lot of information, and what I'm trying to understand now, because there are so many different types of daycare or childcare,
Childcare.
how does one find, where are these daycares, and how do you go about in searching for those?
Yeah, it is tough. Now depends if you are looking for a nanny. It's easy to find through agencies. Like I mentioned, you have agencies like Sitly, there are care.com, Canadian Nanny, and there are many more agencies where you can register online by paying registration fee of $50, and then you can search them up by your location, by even by age. You can filter by your, if you have specific language that you speak at home, you can filter by that. Wow. So you can look for nannies on marketplaces like Facebook, but that again, it might leave you with lesser search options or filter options. So that's that. And then for licensed home daycares, there are again agencies like Today's Family. Then there's WeCare, so you can register to them, and you will tell them your requirement, the age of your child, and when are you starting from, etc. And they will help you find your daycare, which is a home daycare, again licensed. But you can also find something similar on Facebook as well, because they come posting their ads on different groups. And now if you talk about private home daycare, they are also found on Facebook. So marketplaces, you can search, you can post it on a channel, any different group, and find a suitable place for your child. So these private home daycares are easy to find because there are many in your area, right? But these licensed home daycares could be difficult to find because based on the availability, the demand and supply, everybody is looking for licensed daycares. So that's something difficult. And these, finding through these web pages like agencies like Today's Family or, WeCare, they also is a huge wait period, if I can say that.
Yeah.
So it's best to register ASAP, like as soon as possible, or as soon as you are expecting a child.
Wow, so early?
Yeah, because
Oh my
the
God.
wait period could be maybe 1 year or sometimes even 2 years.
Wow,
So
that's a lot of wait.
that's too much wait. On the other hand, when we talk about the childcare centers, for them also you have to register online through their websites. This is also something similar. Big wait period. So again, register online as soon as you're pregnant or you're expecting a child, or even if you're planning to move to Canada, register online as soon as possible, because this is a crazy wait period, if I can say. And for the last one, if I can talk about the before and after school care.
Yep.
That is also depending on the availability in your school, because of course you want your kid to be in the same school so they can shift easily from your
School
before
to the before care or after
care to
care.
school,
Okay.
then from school to after care, easy transition, same friends and things like that. So that is also depending on the availability. If you find the spot, if you don't find a spot, then you have an option for the home daycare, private or licensed.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And that's why I was mentioning that, daycare, it's very hard to find a spot here because the wait times are absolutely crazy. So what you mentioned earlier is somebody who is back in their home country, and if they are planning to move to Canada, they can also register
Yes.
right now while sitting in their home
Yes,
country.
yes.
Perfect. So yeah, that's also one way of being ahead in the line,
Yeah.
in the queue, when you are waiting to even travel to the country and get the daycare
Yeah, at least
services.
be in the line, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now that we've understood there are different types of childcare,
Yeah.
how do we go about finding them? My next question to you is, each of these types of daycare, what do they basically provide you with?
Okay, so nannies they are coming to your home, right? So they won't provide anything particular except, of course, that's the biggest one, to take care
Yeah.
of your child.
Correct.
Right? They will be taking care of your child, putting them to sleep, having them eat their food, or helping them eat their food. They can also help for toddlers ranging, from age 1.5 to 4. They help them to even engage in books, some small activities, playing with some toys, things like that. And for if you need a nanny for school going kids, then they can also help you with their homeworks. And then sometimes they also offer light housekeeping, maybe like washing your kids' clothes or the water bottles or milk bottles, something like that. So that's something about nanny services. Home, private or licensed, both something similar. They will provide you with 2 snacks and lunch. So that's something they will provide. And you have to provide them a water bottle, or if your kids are like toddlers, then you have to provide their sippy cups. If it's infant, you have to provide their milk bottle if they're on it. You also have to provide diapers if your kids are using diapers, blankets, of course an extra pair of clothes, and anything specific if your kids like to eat, right? So that they would not provide, so you can give that as well. For daycare centers also, you will provide the same set of things, and they will also provide you with lunch and 2 snacks. So that's very similar. And for before and after care, you have to bring your stuff. You can pack extra lunch or extra snacks for your kids. So that's
that makes sense. Now, when you also spoke about food, is it good to send home food, or is it good for them to have the kind of food that the daycare providers are serving to the kids?
Good question. I think for me, I would like for my kid to go and eat what they offer or they are providing, because that way your kid is open to learning or eating new variety of food.
Correct.
Also, they see others are eating, so I am eating the same thing, right? At home, if you provide something similar, you're limiting your child to not try different options and variety.
Sense. And in terms of the food that they offer, that the service providers offer, in each of the cases, they offer a proper, healthy, balanced meal, or do they take into considerations your dietary preferences or your allergies as well, or they don't?
Of course. So when you're registering, you fill a form, and in the form you will mention about your what is your restriction on food. For example, we don't eat red meat, so we put in for our kid that please do not offer him red meat. You're okay with chicken, you're okay with eggs and anything vegetarian. So that's something you can always mention if your kid has peanut allergy or any other allergy, because in North America that's very common. So that also you can mention. So depends on what's suitable for your case. You have to mention that clearly in the form.
Well, makes sense. No, I think that's great. And I think they do offer like a balanced meal, like proper amount of protein, carbs and fats and everything.
Yeah, they try to, of course, because, and then kids are kids, right?
Yeah.
So they sometimes they also munch on snacks like chips and cookies and all of those things. So, but they don't offer such things. They are, but if they offer, they'll ask the parent, is it okay for your kid to eat this thing, or are you okay with providing chips for your kids? So that's something they will definitely check with you on what's your preference like.
Makes sense. Perfect. Well, this helps. Now let's get on to some serious business. I know all of us are always worried about cost, because let's be honest, labor or any kind of childcare services is very expensive in North America. So how much does it cost for each of the types of childcare that you mentioned?
So nanny services being the most costly, because they are coming to your house and they are dedicating their time just for your child, right? So that could be ranging from minimum wage of $16 to $22, $25 an hour.
Wow.
So that's really an expensive option.
Yeah.
But again, it's suitable for parents who want to keep their kids at home and being taken care of by somebody. So that's suitable. Private daycares are also very expensive because they are not funded by the government, right? So that could range from $50 to $75 a day for each child. Yeah, and then talking about the licensed home daycares, they are generally government funded. In 2022 December, there was a new rule that government has reduced the fees by 37%, bringing it to the average fees about like $20 to $23 a day for each child that you will have to pay. So, which is a lot less expensive compared to the
other
private
options.
one, right?
Yeah.
So that's something which is good. But there's another thing to it, which is called subsidy.
Okay.
Now, if your family income meets certain criteria and you're eligible for subsidy, you have to register through your provincial there's web page. You can register to them. Then again, do it ASAP because there's a huge wait period. You will need to let them know about your total family income. You have to tell them about your IT returns. Why do you need the daycare for your child? And address proof and things like that, and reason for the daycare requirement. So once you apply through them and you provide all these details, they will check and all this process, because there's a huge wait list again. And if you qualify that and you get the subsidy, you will be amazed to know that your fee could be, don't quote me there, but it could be as less as $3 to $5 a day.
Wow, from 22 or 16 to $22 per hour for a nanny services to as low as $3 a day.
$3 to $5 a day.
A day.
Yeah, so yeah, that's something. And this is very similar for a licensed home daycare or a daycare center.
Okay.
So this is
as long
similar.
as they are licensed, so it doesn't matter. They will have to follow the rules laid down by the government.
Yeah, exactly.
And the pricing laid down by the government.
Yes, 100%.
Perfect.
And the pricing for before and after school care, it's between $9 to $11 daily for before school care and $11 to $14 for aftercare.
Great. I think this is great information. I think one last question that I have before we conclude this is, whatever money that we are paying to any of these service providers, be it nanny, be it a home daycare, licensed or whatever, do we get any form of tax rebate when we file our IT returns?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And so all the eligible taxpayers, anyone who is paying tax can claim up to $8,000 per child under the age of 7 years old, and $5,000 per year per child under the age of I think 16 years of their age. So that's something you can claim at the end of the year when you are filing your taxes. So you can also, on this, you can find more details on the childcare, for how much will you get back or how much can you claim per se. There's a form called T778, so you can check that and see what are you eligible for and how much can you claim back.
Perfect. I think this is a lot of information and great information. I have been enlightened based on whatever legwork I wasn't doing, at least in this last 10-15 minutes of conversation. I've learned a lot about the daycares, and I'm really hoping that you guys have also learned a lot about how the childcare works in Canada. And I hope that this video has been helpful and useful to you guys. If it has been helpful and useful to you guys, so please, I highly recommend for you to go ahead and like this video, because if you like this video, it's going to pass it on to other people who might be in need of information like this. If you've liked the video, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, any comments, please use the comment section below. Drop in a comment and we'll try our best to answer the question for you. If you think this video again has been of any help, or you think this can be helpful for someone else that you might know of, please share this video with someone and subscribe to our channel. So thank you very much guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And until we meet in the next video, please take care and stay safe.